100 to 1, said Admiral Vex, his voice calm, confident. That's not a battle. That's a formality. The war chamber aboard the Draxer Ascendant pulsed with light holograms flickering above polished black stone. Generals of the Coalition fleet hovered around the projection of Earth's position. A lonely blue dot, tucked away in the outer spiral, far from core influence. No planetary shields. No strategic outposts. No reason for concern. Are we certain they'll engage? Asked Commander Reth, her mandibles twitching in vague curiosity. They don't have a choice, Vex replied. Their orbital range is minimal. They'll see us. They'll react, and they'll fall apart. They always do, another commander grinned. They spoke like it was tradition, as if this would be just one more crushed culture to archive. One more primitive world that didn't evolve fast enough. One more warning to the rest. But Earth wasn't listening. Not yet, and that silence? It made the generals nervous. They just didn't know it yet. On the bridge of the Draxer Ascendant, Vex stood before a sweeping viewport, watching his fleet begin formation around Earth's orbit. He'd never deployed this many ships at once over. 6,000 vessels in full spread, with another 5,000 in reserve. A demonstration of what it meant to be untouchable. Deploy the signal drone, he said. Let them see who we are before we erase them. The comms officer blinked. Drone away. A moment passed. Then the drone's perspective came online streaming. Footage directly to Earth's planetary grid. A wide-angle shot of the Coalition Armada, eclipsing the stars, ships of every class and design. From missile-fisted destroyers to the mile-long carriers crawling with fighter drones. It looked like the sky had cracked open and poured out fire. The feed cut to a single line of text, encoded in every Terran language. Surrender and your extinction will be gentle. No reply came. No transmission. No diplomacy. Not even a missile. Just Earth suspended in silence. They're afraid, muttered Commander Reth. No, Vex said. They're arrogant. Pretending they can ignore what's coming. He didn't know yet that Earth wasn't ignoring them. Earth was watching. Waiting. Calculating. In an underground facility below the Greenland ice cap, Commander Imani Reyes of the Terran Defense Silent Wing stood beside the old war table. Around her, 10 operatives from Earth's Hidden Fleet Command waited without speaking. The room didn't hum. It breathed low, alive, listening to every vibration in orbit. Confirmation? Reyes asked. An AI voice answered. Coalition numbers. 11,032 ships. Earth deployment. 112 assets active. Ratio confirmed. 100.28 to 1. Someone exhaled. That's worse than we expected. Reyes smiled. No, that's perfect. They looked at her. Let them think they have the advantage. She pointed to a single file pulsing red on the display. Un's torchbearer. Is it online? She asked. The AI replied, awake, targeting locked, awaiting command. Reyes turned. No broadcast, no lights, no sound. We let them make the first noise. Someone asked, and if they don't? She shrugged. Then they'll feel the second one. Aboard the Draxer Ascendant, Admiral Vex gave the order. Begin the fire sequence. Level every military node. Leave their cities for after. He stepped back as the tactical screens came to life, each ship lining up shots, targeting orbital arrays, launch sites, communications towers. Thousands of projectiles armed. Fire. But nothing happened. The screens blinked. Systems slowed. Some ships froze entirely. Status, Vex barked. Sir, half our fleet just stalled. Their power grids are cycling. Why? No one answered. Then, from deep within the formation, a blip emerged. Small. Too small. A single Terran vessel. Black. Unlabeled. Cold. And then hot. The torchbearer lit up like a supernova in reverse pulling in light, distorting space. It fired once, just once. A pulse, not a beam. A wave of data, interference, and pressure. And 327 coalition ships vanished. No explosion. No debris. Just gone. Screaming erupted across the command deck. What did it hit? Nothing, everything. It wasn't directional. It was systemic. The coalition fleet tried to realign. Too late. The torchbearer moved again, warping short range, skipping gravity lanes. Each move left a hole in the fleet. They tried to track it. They tried to pin it. They tried to understand. But by then, they were already dying. On Earth, Commander Reyes watched without blinking. They outnumbered us. Someone said. She nodded. Not anymore. The AI whispered, coalition losses, 2,311 ships. Estimated time to full collapse, 47 minutes. Reyes gave the order. Activate the others. No mercy. The wall behind her split open. 9 more Terran warships awakened, silent titans that didn't blink, didn't roar, didn't speak. They just moved, and each one remembered. On the Draxer Ascendant, Admiral Vex watched helplessly as his fleet disintegrated. They're not ships, he whispered. Someone asked, then what are they? He didn't answer, because he didn't know. He only knew the numbers didn't matter anymore. 100 to 1, and they still lost everything. And that was before Earth even responded. Smoke curled through the Draxer Ascendant's upper deck, where broken light flickered against fractured hull plating. Sparks fell like fireflies. Sirens warbled with no urgency, as if the ship already knew the outcome. Admiral Vex stood alone now, watching from the shattered viewport as his fleet came apart. No grand detonations, no cinematic debris clouds. Just absence. Entire vessels. Gone from existence, carved out like mistakes in history. They're not using weapons. He muttered. No one responded. He turned to the tactical array, which still pulsed weakly. Every coalition ship was broadcasting emergency alerts, scrambling signal packs, rotating frequency bands. None of it mattered. They're deleting us, Vex whispered. Not killing, deleting. His voice shook. Now not from fear of death, but from the deeper fear, irrelevance. That his grand campaign, his calculated numbers, his assured dominance, meant nothing. And then he saw it outside the viewport. Shadow. Just one. A Terran vessel drifting through the graveyard. Not large, not flashy. Its hull bore no weapons, no insignia. Just a name, UNSDRG, didn't fire. It didn't glow. It just moved. And wherever it passed, systems collapsed. Ships died. Command relays shattered. Tech turned to ash. And then the ship stopped directly in front of him. Still no weapons aimed. Still no contact. Then, Vex heard a voice in his head. Not overcomes, not through translation tech. Just words. Soft, clear. You called us primitive. He staggered backward, clutching his chest. You counted ships. We counted screams. His heart raced. You're not outnumbered. You're outlived. And then silence. The dirge disappeared. Not jumped. Not fled. It wasn't there anymore. Deep tremor passed through the Ascendant's hull. And then every screen blinked red. System. Override. Language. Terran. Message. This was mercy. And then the bridge went dark. Far below, Earth remained quiet. No celebrations. No victory flags. Just one more name added to the encrypted wall beneath the Arctic citadel. Naven. Reyes. Age 14 killed in unreported STRIK Commander Imani. Reyes pressed her hand against the fresh engraving. Her eyes were dry. Her mouth set in a straight line. A junior officer approached behind her. They've begun broadcasting pleas for negotiation. She didn't turn. They're not pleading with us, she said. They're pleading with ghosts. He hesitated. Do we answer? She finally looked up. We already did. Across the galaxy, the word spread like a sickness. Not across government channels, but through soldiers, pilots, mercenaries. They outnumbered Earth 100 to 1. And Earth didn't send a fleet. They sent a reminder. Footage leaked, low quality, intercepted from terrified scouts. Frames of black ships appearing in full gravity fold, no warning, no heat trail. Ships with names etched in scars. One bore the word Un's Reckoner, another Un's Vigil. Each ship arrived. Didn't speak, and things stopped existing. They weren't fighting for territory. They were correcting the record. In the ruins of a neutral spaceport on Helion Dre, a lone Zarnathi officer limped through the wreckage he had once boasted about, the defenseless Rock of Soul. Now he stared at a burning crater, half his body scorched. On the wall behind him, someone had carved 3 words into the steel. Not in blood. In laser precision. We remember Earth. He dropped his weapon. Not from surrender. From understanding. In a silent observatory on Earth's dark side, the I known only as Icarus, logged the aftermath. It did not cheer. It did not analyze. It simply stated, threat neutralized, probability of repeat attempt 0.013%. Commander Reyes entered. She didn't ask for a report. She asked one question. Was this necessary? The AI took 3 seconds before replying. No, she nodded once. Good. And walked out, because Earth wasn't interested in war. It never had been. But now? Now the galaxy understood what Earth does when you mistake patience for weakness. And the ones who thought they had the numbers? They never spoke again. The Coalition's capital world, Vareth, hadn't known conflict in over 4 centuries. It was where invasions were planned, not suffered, where fleets launched, not landed. Its skies glistened with orbital rings, drone walls, and the soft blue shimmer of prestige shielding. Untouchable. Until today. Admiral Thalavar stood in the central command spire, watching a dozen analysts scramble below him, drowning in data anomalies. What do you mean something is inside our orbital perimeter? He barked. No one responded. One officer finally whispered, Sir, we didn't detect entry. It just appeared. Thalavar's long neck twitched as his pupils narrowed. Nothing just appears. And then the room dimmed. The lights stayed on, but something about them, something in the spectrum shifted. One analyst gasped. Skylight stations are rotating. Without command. What? Thalavar spun toward the HOLO map. Every orbital satellite had begun to tilt, facing one direction. Not random. Not glitched. Intentional. As if the sky itself had turned its eyes to something behind it. Then, a shadow passed across the Varethian sun. Not an eclipse. Not a ship. Something between the two, and the temperature dropped by 6 degrees. In under 30 seconds. An audio feed kicked in. Not requested. The voice was calm, measured. Varith was not on the target list. Thalavar froze. But your fleet's actions have consequences. Who is this? He shouted. The voice ignored him. You watched. You advised. You trained them. You counted yourself innocent. Then silence. No explosion. No threat. Just that voice. And then dash movement. Above the capital sky. Space ripple. No flash. No glow. Just a soft distortion. And then they saw it. The ship had no name, but it bore the pattern of Terran black-glass lightless armor. Reflective only when the stars begged for answers. It rotated once, not to attack, but to look back. The ship sent no I.D. No frequencies, just one gravity pulse. It pushed down gently on the Varethian surface, just enough to be noticed. Every tower on the planet tilted by 1 degree. Every satellite reoriented. Every line of code updated to acknowledge A new center of mass. As if the entire planet had bowed without meaning to. Then the ship vanished. No trace. No warp trail. No radiation. Just gone. Thalevar didn't breathe for several seconds. Then, shakily, "How many do they have?" His aide replied without looking up. "We don't know." He whispered, "That's the problem." Far from Varith, buried beneath what once was a moon mining colony, the torchbearer drifted inside a hollowed crust of ironstone. No light touched it, no radar swept it. It simply was. Inside, Commander Reyes stared at a growing list of intercepted transmissions from across the galaxy. New rumors, new speculation. Even gods don't move like this. One voice claimed, "I saw one split a cruiser in half without firing." Another whispered, "A child drew its shape in the dirt 3 triangles within a black circle." No one taught her that symbol. They were calling it the last pattern now. Not a weapon, not a fleet. Myth forming in real time. "Does this worry you?" Reyes asked. A voice behind her answered, "No." It wasn't human. It wasn't AI. It was ship mind. 9. The living interface of the UN Cis Torchbearer. A hybrid consciousness built from lost battle logs, grief code, and instinct. She turned toward it. "You feel no fear? I feel logic." "And what does logic say?" "Fear is late to this conversation." Meanwhile, at a secret diplomatic meeting between 5 neutral systems, the topic was no longer negotiation. It was survival. A Rixari trade baron leaned forward. "I don't care what anyone says. If we send ships to Earth, they won't respond." A diplomat from the Vorn Unity countered, "They already responded. The question is, did they finish?" A silence followed. Then the oldest among them, a blind Rilari monk, spoke without raising his head. "They don't strike back, they strike forward." A moment of dread passed through the room. The monk continued slowly, "They do not conquer. They correct. And they don't do it for victory. They do it for memory." On board the Unsdirge, Shipmind 7 observed a swarm of coalition distress beacons blinking across empty space. None were answered, because there was no one left to answer. The dirge did not deviate from its path. It had a list. It had names. It had coordinates. It had silence. And that was enough. On Earth, deep in the Arctic command node, Reyes stood before a silent console. No fanfare. No applause. Just one phrase scrolling gently across the top of the screen. Estimated enemy strength ratio at first strike, 100-1. A moment later, a second line appeared, human casualty count, 0. She didn't smile. She didn't cheer. She just whispered one word, balance. In the ruins of a forgotten outpost in Sector 4 Delta, the last surviving officer of the original invasion force stumbled through ash and glass. He collapsed near a bent console and activated a black box recorder. His voice shook as he began. "This is Admiral Vex, or what's left of him." He coughed. "You need to understand something. We had everything. Firepower, speed, numbers. We had 10,000 ships. They had ... I don't even know." He looked up at the dead sky. "They didn't fight. They didn't scream. They didn't run." He swallowed hard. "They just arrived." And then his voice dropped to a whisper. "We outnumbered them 100-1 and still lost everything." The feed cut. And silence followed.